Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to review The Boys, Season 2 premiere, The Big Ride.
Butcher? What happened?
My wife. She's alive. Vault's holding the captive somewhere. And right now, we're in a little bit of trouble. Are you fucking with us?
And The Boys Season 1, I think, is a season of television that we both enjoyed. We obviously both enjoy the superhero stories, but this, like we said in the recap, it does put a new spin on the superhero genre, where it's more explicit, vulgar, adult-oriented with its content and violence. And that's something that I really enjoyed. It's refreshing in this sea of Marvel and DC. It's just something new that comes from 2006.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this premiere episode, it had all the things that we loved from the first season. The characters, the tone, the vibe of the whole series. It's, easy to get right back into it and just enjoy yourself while watching it.
Yeah, and I was kind of afraid that maybe Season 2 would feel a bit forced because it is so explicit. But it didn't. It felt like a return to form, like we were continuing a story that was being told in Season 1. And obviously we have the two competing sides. We have the actual boys, who are fugitives now in Season 2. In the beginning of this episode, they're trying to get out of the country. And then we have the Seven, represented by Vought Industries, and they're stronger than ever. They're at the height of their powers. They've successfully infiltrated the military with superheroes. They've created their super terrorists or super villains. So they're setting up a lot of interesting little plot threads going into this season, especially with the Deeps character. I can't wait to talk about that. But the boys are back.
Just from the beginning of this episode, I really enjoyed all the stuff with Huey and Starlight in the beginning and kind of seeing their parallels. And even when you have Edgar and he's in that kind of board meeting with the military officials or whatever, and they're cutting the Black Noir on his mission, I thought that was all extremely well
the
done.
Rolling Stones song is perfect. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Yeah, and Black Noir is someone who was sidelined in Season 1. And it was great to use that character because he is so mysterious. So now we have the Black Ops mission taking place overseas. And you see how powerful the character of Stan Edgar actually is. And we'll get to that great scene between him and Homelander. But, he's someone that didn't necessarily want this power, but now that he has it, he seems to be enjoying it. And Giancarlo Esposito, what an addition for this cast.
Yeah, it's tremendous. If you need someone to, portray a human that could oppose someone like Homelander, it's him.
Right, yeah, perfectly said.
Yeah.
And I like your point about the parallels between Huey and Starlight. Their relationship was so important in Season 1. And it's interesting to see the points where they are in their lives, where Huey is rock bottom, where he's dressing up in the beginning and he has to make himself presentable to see Starlight. And then you have Starlight coming from Translucent's funeral. She's got the getup, she's got the fake hair, the revealing costume. She has to dress herself down. So they're at the two extremes. They're at two polar opposites where it's a struggle for them to even make contact with each other. But I enjoyed that parallel set to the song Under Pressure by Billy Joel, who is always a common artist in this soundtrack. And it was great to see their interactions with each other. They have great chemistry. Jack Quaid, really in this episode, you see how how this world has completely taken over his personality. He just can't escape it, but what else is he going to do?
Yeah, and that relationship, obviously, we saw it all in Season 1, but it's interesting to see where they go. I mean, obviously, there's still something there, but, she's part of the Seven. He wants to destroy the Seven. She's trying to help him, but then she keeps bringing up how he lied to her, so there's some mistrust, but...
And now he's got mother's milk in his ear.
Yeah.
Different from Butcher telling Huey to leave her alone for her own benefit, because right now she's surrounded by enemies. At least, at the very least, Huey's surrounded by sort of friends. And I thought Mother's Milk had great presence in this episode. With the absence of Butcher, you could tell that he's just, the tension is building up in this character.
Yeah.
He's someone who never wanted anything to do with this in the beginning. But you mentioned a superhero, he gets that itch. Because once he sees that video of the soup terrorist, he's like, okay, what could we do about this? No, someone else will handle it. I thought he was great, Mother's Milk. And of course, Frenchie.
Yeah.
You gotta love Frenchie.
I thought the funeral scene was hilarious. I was dying, especially the clear casket with nothing in there.
Right, it's perfect, right?
And Homelander's doing his, very, I guess, political type speech where he's just putting on an act. And obviously, as we see later in the episode, and last season, that's not who he is, but he can turn it on when he has to. And Starlight singing, I thought was... I hate when people sing in, shows and movies, when it's, not an actual, like A Star is Born type set, when they just start, in Lord of the Rings, when she just starts singing. I always just get cringe, but it was
goofy. It kind of fit the vibe of that funeral.
Avoid trying to just trying to do the most to present these heroes to the public.
Yeah, and throughout the episode, she breaks the TV with the Starlight television show that's coming. You could see that they're putting her in all these positions that she's so uncomfortable in. She's kind of like a mole at this point.
I found it so funny, too, when the Deep's watching the newscast, and on the bottom it says, whatever the song's name was, now streaming.
On Vaughatify.
Yeah.
I also like that. I enjoy that, too, with Vought, that they've become the kind of Apple of this universe. They're this super company that has their hands in everything. The Deep is a character that I didn't love in season 1 because I thought they were trying to make him sympathetic, where he's trying to save a dolphin and it's funny because the dolphin dies. But here they're trying to make him sympathetic in a more desperate way, where his moments of humor were funnier to me because he is so rock bottom at this point. Like when he's in the bar complaining about how they cut him out of the video, and the bartender's like, I think it's time to go, and he's like, just give me another fucking lava float. It's just so ridiculous. Him at the water park screaming at the little fucking idiot kids.
Yeah.
It's and Eagle the Archer was a new addition, a hero based in Sandusky, Ohio, and that's why I'm very intrigued, because Eagle and the character of Carol telling Deep that they can get him back into the Seven and presenting him this sort of religious text.
Yeah, I don't know. They gave me some weird vibes.
Cult.
Those two. They look like they're doing something.
Yeah, a little cult. Well, I think that opens it up for a kind of a third party.
Yeah.
Where instead of just the boys and Vought, now it's kind of like what The Last of Us Part 2 did. You want to create a great third villain, create a cult.
Yeah.
Always creepy, always weird. And he seems like a mind that would be susceptible to something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Especially his mental state right about now, yelling at kids at the water park. You think water's fun?
Try swimming in the Mariana Trench. He's just such a loser at this point in his life. That's why I kind of enjoyed it more. Where it looks like it's not going to be a redemption arc. It's going to be it's perceived as redemption, but I've really just gotten in with even worse people.
Just like an insight more than a redemption, just seeing what he goes through.
But the book is called The Church of the Collective: Destinations, the New Science of Self-Renewal. So, intrigued. Yes. I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah, and Anthony Starr jumps right back into the role as Homelander. He plays that character so well. And I think it's cool, too, like, when he's doing the act. Like, you can tell, obviously, because we know who he is, but the way he plays that character in that light, it's pretty remarkable because he does it in a way that's so disingenuous to us, but you can see why
people would eat it up.
Dumb people would just eat it up in the masses.
He himself is a cult leader. That's really what he is. And he's putting on this act. He's like trying to be Christopher Reeves, the old golden age Superboy. I'm the Boy Scout. And like you said, we as the audience can see how disingenuous it is. But he's, the whole episode, he just bullies Ashley, right? I mean, he's just bullying her. You could see that he is now Kylo Ren, like we said with Vader in Empire Strikes Back. He's Vader without the Tarkin. This is a mad dog without the leash. And the scene that he has with
Daredevil guy?
The Daredevil guy, right, yeah.
That was fucking brutal, man.
That was brutal. And I was wondering, is this just a moment where we're seeing how awful Homelander is? And no, he's just a sociopath. He is a bully. He doesn't value this person's life because this is Ashley trying to overstep. So he's teaching her a lesson. That I'm in charge. And like you said with Anthony Starr, the facial expressions, the finger wagging, the hands on the hip, the way that he can just go back and forth between the disingenuous douchebag to real life psychopath, it's brilliant.
Well, yeah, he lets her know right away, like, I'm kind of running the ship, which you're right. Like, Stillwell was able to reel him in and kind of keep him, until he burned her eyes out. But
right.
For the most part, she did a really good job at that. Left him some milk too. That was nice of her.
That was so disgusting. Oh,
the way he drank that, like, he put his tongue in there, and then he just started chugging. Like, he could, like, that first sip of Gatorade on a hot day. You've been sweating, like, you wet your mouth a little, and you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to chug this.
He really had to heat it up, too, with the heat vision.
It's a nice touch.
It is. I always love when superheroes use their powers for things like that, instead of using the microwave.
Thanks.
No problem.
But yeah, it's the introduction of Stormfront that leads him to that altercation with Edgar. And I thought that we got that scene from the trailer, but were you reading the comments on her Instagram Live? The funniest one when she tells Homelander it was Edgar that put her in the role, and someone commented, "Stan fucking Edgar."
The comments were great when Homelander walks away. Where he going? Aya Cash playing Stormfront, she shows up and she completely blows up their spot. And you could see that she might be a character that is going to pull back the curtain on the Seven, because the first thing she says is, it's a fake base. You think that Queen Maeve and Homelander would be in the trenches with the grunts?
Well, it's interesting, too, with the way they market these superheroes with the all the analytics and demographics and things like that. We see earlier where Ashley says, like, these superheroes work well with the millennials. But it's interesting, too, because I feel like someone like this would work well with a new generation, when last season they were focusing more on, the vanilla, plain,
conservative
mass appeal. This is kind of like a new age type brassness that I think a lot of people in the real world around the younger demographic can resonate to.
Right, yeah, and Edgar putting Stormfront in the 7, it's a clear slight to Homelander. It's someone with a strong personality and probably strong powers as well, that he made sure to put someone in there that could challenge Homelander's leadership and humble him, I guess, and this forces Homelander to come down to 82nd. That's another just brilliant move, that they put the superheroes on floor 99, giving them the perception of power, but the real power is on floor 82. And Stan Edgar, this was a smackdown. And you said it perfectly. He is an actor who can portray a normal human with seemingly the power to stand up to an almighty god. And that's what he does. When he gives him the lecture about Frederick Vaught, that was a great history as well, likening him to an Edison or Walt Disney. And the angle of stealing Nazi scientists and turning them into American icons. It's also interesting. And it appears that we got some superhero history as well, that this character, Soldier Boy, is almost like their Captain America. He was a hero created with Compound V that was fighting the actual Nazis.
Yeah, that was all very interesting, too. And I liked when he called his bluff. He's like, oh, my contract's out. He's like, yeah, listen, we're a pharmaceutical company. It's like what we have, like, you almost destroyed, too. So it's kind of like, for Homelander, he's probably perceived himself as to be irreplaceable all this time, and now this guy here basically didn't even bat an eye when he said that.
Right, Homelander is bitten off more than he can chew. He kills Stillwell, he allows Compound V into the world, and he's telling him, listen, there is not going to be a world anymore if this gets out to the public. What you have done has jeopardized everything. You may be the most powerful, but what really are you without us? What are you without your infrastructure, without the people that are cleaning up your messes? And that line that he delivers, we've been running around like maniacs cleaning up your mess. Because Homelander does get ticked off, and he presses him when he throws the chair and he gets up and, I don't like your tone. This is reality. We're on your side, and you're really weakening our position. So calm the fuck down. And when he says, don't you have a movie premiere to attend? That's the final fucking dagger.
Yeah, he's tremendous. I can't wait to see them go back and forth this season.
Well, that's the thing with Homelander, is that you can sympathize with him because he does demonstrate very human emotions. It's the scene when he's drinking the milk, as disturbing as it is. He's longing for... He regrets killing Stillwell. This was his mother figure. So he's willing to take advice, and he's willing to make choices that will benefit himself in the long run. He's not going to demonstrate cruelty for no good reason. It's like his confrontation with the blind hero. He did that for a reason. Maybe you can go about it in a less harmful way.
Yeah.
But there's always a reason to his character. So he figures out that he can't bully Stan Edgar. So where does he go? He goes to his hostage wife to visit his son.
Yep.
It's the one place where he will have full control. At least he thinks.
That's another interesting plot line for this season, is just his relationship with his son, what happened with him and Becca, what happened with Billy. Because they cut that scene at the end of season 1. Homelander is back at the 7 Tower, and Billy Butcher doesn't show up until the end. So.
Yeah, even Ashley says, has there been any success in catching this Butcher monster? And Homelander says no. So I'm sure we will figure out what happened. He obviously lets him go, or maybe Billy found a way to escape. That would be even more impressive.
Interesting, too, the revelation that I guess Homelander saved the baby, too, and left him like 17 miles away or something that they said.
Kind of another look into his humanity. Because in season 1, we were all convinced he was going to kill that fucking baby.
I thought the baby was dead.
Right, yeah, we all did.
But yeah, obviously the other side, you have the boys in this kind of hideout with Frenchie's friends.
Frenchie's drug smuggling, human smuggling,
superhero smuggling. You need something smuggled? There you go.
Yeah, that seems like a gang that Frenchie would hang out with.
Yeah, and yeah, you do see the tension between Mother's Milk and Huey. Obviously, Mother's Milk being away from his family and kind of just wanting this all to end, but knowing
he's wanted this to end since Billy Butcher walked into his office in season 1.
But yeah, Huey is working with Starlight to try to get Compound V, maybe go to the press and try to expose Voight and bring him down that way.
Right, and that's where we also see the scene with Gecko.
Yeah.
That's where they're blackmailing that guy Gecko, who was fantastic.
I'm like, what are they doing in here?
Yeah, that was kind of messed up. That's what you get with the boys.
Grows back.
Yeah, it does grow back, right?
I'll let you cut off my dick for an extra grand.
And Huey, at the end, he starts lying to Starlight because he feels that he can protect her, and he's just getting bad advice from all these people. At one point or the other, you have to trust in Starlight.
Yeah, and Huey, like Mother's Milk said, it's like, you're not the hero, you're not the captain. I mean, Starlight has actual superpowers.
Right.
But I know what he means. He doesn't want her to get into trouble with people like Homelander and Voight, who we've seen to do terrible things in order to keep everything under wraps. So
right, and
his heart's in the right place.
And they eventually see that security footage of Frenchie's crew smuggling in super terrorists because they get the man with the broken arm, disgusting broken arm, by the way. Did not need to see that. So now they're being pulled back in. They feel that they are the ones who are the only people that can really fight against this. And that I mentioned to you before the season that I would love for the Seven to have to team up and fight against a great threat eventually. I think it would be cool to see them act like the actual Justice League for maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I would like to see going forward maybe like a Starlight Homelander like epic showdown.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, with Stormfront's powers, it seems like they're similar to Starlight, that they both deal with, I think Stormfront can shoot lightning.
She's kind of like a Storm character.
Stormfront. She's a bit stormy. And after seeing the footage, they contact Susan Raynor, their CIA Connect from season 1, a character that I very much enjoyed.
Yeah, not anymore.
No, not anymore. She got the Kingsman treatment. Her head just completely obliterated.
I was fucking shocked.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Huey reacting to people dying in front of him never gets old.
You always get blood spattered on him. That was, yeah, I didn't expect that to happen because I thought she was going to be like the ally to like the, because you're going to need someone like that in the CIA, deputy director, to help you bring down this corporation and have your back. Because, you know, at the end of the day, society views these people as, you know, Billy the Butcher. Killed the Chris Hansen.
The Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth or I'll bullocks you. It made me laugh every time I heard it.
So that's how they perceive them. So they're going to need someone in, I guess, the inside, but not anymore.
Well, Butcher coming back at the end. Like I said, Karl Urban is just having the time of his life with this character. When he looks at Hugh and he says, "Don't worry, Daddy's home." That's the connect you need.
I think,
and they keep saying it. Frenchie keeps mentioning it that the Beatles had Epstein, and everyone needs a captain. You need a leader. I forget the other examples he gave. The Yankees had Jeter.
Yeah, I don't know if this is too early to say, but I think Billy Butcher has the potential to be like one of the best television characters of all time. He's just, I don't know. He was in this episode for a minute, and it was the best fucking minute.
He's got the jumpsuit. Why is he wearing that jumpsuit?
He's such a character.
Yeah, he is. And he's got a lot of Tony Soprano in him. And his motivations are fascinating, too, because you're rooting for him because it's Karl Urban. He's a badass and he's charismatic. But he's just as complicated as a Homelander.
Oh, yeah. He's a lot of gray area with his character.
Yeah, very messy.
Makes him fascinating, too.
Yeah, so I think it was a solid episode overall. And I can't wait to watch that episode, too. I didn't want to watch it, so I didn't have my thoughts jumbled because we just wanted to review the premiere by itself. But
I was going to watch it and be like, predict everything and say I didn't watch it, and everyone's like, this kid's good.
You did the same thing with Game of Thrones because you read the books. Did you read the comics? I told you to read the comic.
No, I didn't.
Oh, well. All right, we'll be back for the next episode. We're actually going to make a spoiler discussion video for episodes 1, 2, and 3. Change of plans here since they released the first 3 episodes, but then we will continue on for the rest of the season with weekly reviews and spoiler discussions. So we hope you'll join us for the rest of season 2 of The Boys. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Beau Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers. My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Beau Oliver, and I support this message.